Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. All right, college football week 10. All right, coming off a great week 9. Picks weren't so great, but you know what? We are always going to have fun. We're going to struggle. We're going to have great weeks. But you know what? You don't get too high. You don't get too low. You stay in the middle. That way you can take the good with the bad. Straight up picks, 15-6. Against the spread, 8-13. Over under 9-12. Overall, 32-31. Not great, but not horrible. Year to date, we are 152-37 on straight up picks, which is 80.4%. Against the spread, 163-86, 54.4%. Over under 95 and 94, 50.2%. Overall, 61.7. Definitely rocking with that. Hopefully we're for a good week this week. We have some big games. We have some not so big games. We have all the undefeated teams, all the one-loss teams, and a good portion of the two-loss teams as well. First off, in the MAC, we have the Buffalo Bulls, who are 3-5. They are 3-1 in the MAC against the Toledo Rockets, who are 7-1 on the year, 4-0 in the MAC. Toledo is favored by 15.5. I got them winning, covering. I'm taking under on that 53. Next up, out of the Big 12, we have the 6-2 Kansas State Wildcats, 4-1 in the Big 12, against the Texas Longhorns, who are 7-1 and 4-1 in the Big 12. Texas is favored by 5.5. I got them winning, covering. I'm going to go over on that 51.5. It is a Big 12 game, and sometimes those game scores can get right out of hand. All right, next up, out of the Big 10, we have the undefeated Ohio State Buckeyes, 8-0 overall, 5-0 in the conference, against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, who are 6-2, 3-2 in the conference. Ohio State is favored by 18.5. That's a pretty big number. But you know what? They are scoring 29 points a game during conference play, only giving up 9. While the Rutgers, they're literally giving up what they're scoring in conference play, 102 to 100. So Ohio State wins. I got them covering. I am taking under in the 43. Under in the 43. That Ohio State defense is just too good. 9.8 points a game is what they're averaging giving up in conference. Out of the SEC, we have the 5-3 Texas A&M Aggies, 3-2 in conference. This versus the 7-1 Ole Miss Rebels, 4-1 in conference. Ole Miss is favored by 4.5. I got them winning, covering. I am taking under on that 54. Next up, we have the Army West Point Black Knights, 2-6 against the Air Force Falcons, who are 8-0. Air Force is favored by 18.5. I got them winning, covering, thinking over on that 36. Out of the ACC, we have the Florida State Seminoles, undefeated, 8-0, 6-0 in conference, against the Pittsburgh Panthers, who are 2-6. They are 1-6 in conference. Florida State favored by 22.5. Whew. If the fact that Florida State was giving up more than 18 and Pittsburgh was giving up over 30, I would worry about that 22.5, but I'm not. Florida State wins, covers, over in the 51. Out of the Sun Belt, these James Madison Dukes, 8-0, 5-0 in conference, versus the Georgia State Panthers, who are 6-2, 3-2 in conference. James Madison's favored by 6. I got them winning, covering, under on the 54.5. The Missouri Tigers out of the SEC, 7-1, 3-1 in conference, taking on the Georgia Bulldogs, 8-0, 5-0 in conference. This is a 1 versus 2. More than likely, the winner of this game will go on to the SEC championship game. You got to look at it. If Missouri upsets Georgia's going to have 1 loss. Mizzou will have 1 loss. Mizzou's loss is going to be Missouri on 1 loss was LSU. LSU's actually been a pretty good team this year. Georgia's 1 loss is Missouri. So when we look at that 4-team committee, that could be that could play a factor. Now, do I really think Mizzou's going to go into Georgia and beat the Bulldogs, who are favored by 16? Anything is possible, but is it likely? Missouri's given up 25.7 points on defense a game in conference. The Bulldogs are scoring 36. Mizzou's scoring 37. And I'm not there. I'm fine being wrong. Please shock me, Missouri. Please. But you know what? Georgia wins. Missouri coverage at 16. I can see that. Maybe a 14-point game, 13-point game. Maybe it's a 7-point game. We'll see. But I have Missouri covering the 16. Taking under in the 56. Next up, another 1-2 versus 2 in the Big 12. We have the 7-1 Oklahoma Sooners, 4-1 conference against the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Cowboys and Sooners, Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State. What game is bigger? 6-2 for the Cowboys, 4-1 in conference. The Boomer Sooners are favored by 6. I got them winning covering. These defenses aren't really stopping people, and these are high-powered offenses. I'm going over on the 62. It is the Big 12. We're going to have lots of points. Let's just be like a 10-9 game. Out of the Big 10, we have the 7-1 Penn State Nittany Lions, 4-1 in conference against the 5-3 Maryland Terrapins, who are 2-3 in conference. Penn State is favored by 10.5. I got them winning covering and under on the 50. Out of the American Conference, we have the 7-1 Tulane Green Wave, 4-0 in conference, going against the 1-7 East Carolina Pirates, who are 0-4 in conference. Tulane favored by 17. I got them winning covering and over on the 48. Out of the ACC, we have the 4-4 Virginia Tech Hokies, 3-1 in conference, versus the Louisville Cardinals, who are 7-1 overall, 4-1 in conference. Louisville's favored by 10. I got them winning covering and under on the 48.5. Out of the Pac-12, we have the 3-5 California Golden Bears, who are 1-4 in conference, versus the 7-1 Oregon Ducks, who are 4-1 in conference. Oregon is favored by 24. I got California covering, Oregon winning, under on the 57. Out of Conference USA, 3-6 Louisiana Tech Bulldogs, 2-3 in conference, going against the 8-0, 6-0 in the Conference USA Liberty Flames. The Flames are favored by 17. I got them winning covering and under on the 57. Out of the Big 12, we have the 6-2 Kansas Jayhawks, 3-2 in conference, going against the Iowa State Cyclones, who are 5-2, 4-1 in conference. Iowa State is favored by 2.5. I got them winning covering and over on the 54. The 8-0 Washington Huskies, 5-0 in the Pac-12, going against the Pac-12 rivals USC Trojans, who are 7-2, 5-1 in conference. Washington is favored by 3.5. I got them winning covering. The over-under is 76 on this game, but both teams are. The USC is scoring 45 in conference, giving up 33. Washington is scoring 36 and giving up 25 in conference. I'm going over in the 76. Out of the SEC, we have the 6-2 LSU Tigers, 4-1 in conference, against the 7-1 Alabama Crimson Tide, who are 5-0 in the SEC. Alabama's favored by 3.5. I got them winning covering and over on the 60. The ACC Miami Hurricanes, 6-2, 2-2 in conference, versus the 5-3 NC State Wolfpack, who are also 2-2 in conference. Miami's favored by 4. I get them winning covering and under on the 45.5. Out of the Big Ten, we have the 2-6 Purdue Boilermakers, 1-4 in conference, against the 8-0, 5-0 in the Big Ten, the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan is favored by 32.5. I got them winning covering and over on the 48.5. Out of the Mountain West, we have the 4-4 Boise State Broncos, 3-1 in conference, going against the 7-1 Fresno State Bulldogs, who are 3-1 in conference. Fresno State is favored by 3. I got them winning covering and under on the 55. And then the last but not least game, we have the 6-2 UCLA Bruins, 3-2 in conference of the Pac-12, against their Pac-12 rivals, the Arizona Wildcats, who are 5-3, 3-2 in the Pac-12. UCLA is favored by 2.5. I agonize over this one. I like Arizona here. They're scoring a little bit more, but UCLA's defense is a little bit better. Arizona plus 2.5 and under on the 52. All right, that is week 10 of the college football season. Stay tuned to our Sports Show for the NFL Week 9, along with CFL semifinal playoffs, along with the championship round of the NASCAR Truck Series Cup in Xfinity. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day, have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show is your YouTube leader in sports channel content.